rich in nature and culture, a life between tradition and modernity. Korea, a country of contrasts, located in the heart of Asia. Despite the division, Korea is gradually rising from the shadows of its powerful neighbors, China and Japan. Once a poor country, Korea has now developed into a dynamic economic power. The mega metropolis of Seoul is not only the center of K-pop and esports, but also a place of innovation, a futuristic future, like something out of a science fiction book. And yet, alongside modern Korea, a culture survives that is deeply anchored in the roots of days long past. This culture is inextricably linked to the country's identity, a culture that is in harmony with nature and in which the wisdom of the elements lives on. Between the peaks of the mountains and the still waters, a way of life is reflected that is shaped by the four basic elements and expressed in the rhythm of the seasons. This interconnectedness is symbolically captured in the Korean flag, the taegukgi, a symbol of harmony and balance. Our journey takes us deep into the heart of this culture, into the world of traditional Korean music, whose sounds reflect the changing seasons and nature, into the art of self-defense, embodied by Taekwondo, which combines physical strength with mental discipline, and into the untouched nature of South Korea, where tea and rice have been cultivated for centuries. A culture that knows how to preserve its connection to nature and use it to create something new. A country that combines tradition and progress in a harmonious symbiosis, and thus shows how important it is to preserve old values in a modern world. Just like the ever-changing, ever-flowing water, spring brings new life to the Korean landscape after a long winter. The first flowers begin to sprout in the hills and valleys, while the land is clothed in delicate green leaves and grass. Spring unfolds its full splendor, covering the country like a fleeting breeze, only for a brief moment before disappearing again just as quickly. The Korean cherry blossom, also known as beotkot, is a symbol of this fleeting beauty of spring and the transience of life. Every year, when the pink and white blossoms bloom, thousands flock to the parks and avenues to experience this brief natural wonder. Where the cherry blossom originally came to Korea remains controversial. Some say it was imported from Japan, while others claim that the wood of the cherry blossom was used for handicraft purposes in Korea long before the Japanese colonial period. Despite its unclear origins, it transforms the country into a sea of delicate pink and white blossoms every year, bathing streets, parks, and temples in a picturesque natural scene. The short flowering period, which only lasts a few weeks, marks the beginning of spring and is a reminder of how precious and fleeting every moment is. Jeonju, the capital of Jeollabuk-do province, is a place where this philosophy is particularly evident. This city, with its rich history, is known for its preservation of traditional Korean arts, from cuisine to music. Traditional music is still played here today.
I have been involved in traditional Korean music for 23 years. My initial focus was not on becoming a sorobuk player, as I was deeply committed to playing woodwind instruments, especially the dijum, a Korean bamboo flute. However, after a chin injury, I was forced to reconsider my musical path. It was after graduating from university that I decided to take up the sorobuk, though I initially thought I might have to give up music entirely. During this difficult time, I came across a video of a sorobuk performance by who would become my teacher. His performance deeply inspired me, sparking a new passion in me. I sought him out, and since then, I've followed the path of traditional Korean music with renewed enthusiasm and dedication.
This is Mr. Lee Chang-won, and he is a sorobuk player.
The music of the Three-Han period, which came before the Three Kingdoms era, is known primarily through archaeological findings rather than written records. We know that music played a role in rituals and shamanistic performances, but there are no detailed historical documents from that time. Because of this, we can say that traditional Korean music began to be documented and organized more systematically after the Three Kingdoms period. It's believed that Korean music truly started to take shape in the 3rd century AD, especially with the invention and development of key instruments like the 6-stringed geomungo and the 12-stringed gyeogyum. In a way, we can say that the foundation of our traditional music lies in the creation of these iconic instruments. I believe that music has a profound effect on both the performer and the audience. When I play the drum, especially in pansori, the traditional Korean storytelling song, I always focus on syncing my breathing with the singer and tuning into how they express their emotions. As the accompanist, I recognize that my role is not to outshine the singer, but to support and enhance their performance. For instance, if the singer is delivering a particularly sad passage and I'm playing in a cheerful mood, it could completely disrupt the mood of the song. That's why I make an effort to stay emotionally balanced, so I can reflect and resonate with the singer's feelings, creating a harmonious and powerful performance together. In Korean music, there are 2 main types of drums, those used in samulnori and pungmulnori, and the sorobuk, which accompanies the pansori singer. The musician who plays the sorobuk is called a gosu, meaning someone who beats the drum by hand. The gosu has 5 key tasks: leading the rhythm, following the singer's tempo, creating sound effects, engaging in dialogue within the performance, and involving the audience to enhance the pansori experience. I don't have any specific thoughts in my head. As an accompanist, I focus on supporting the singer's breathing and feelings. If I had to describe what goes through my mind, I would say that I try to let go of the pressure of having to be good.
Even in the vibrant heart of Seoul, one of the most modern cities in the world, tradition lives on. Amidst the futuristic skyscrapers and lively streets, there are places where the old arts and customs are preserved. In the western district of Yangcheon-gu, we meet one of these keepers of tradition. Taekwondo master Byung Cheol-an. In his dojo, an oasis of calm and discipline, he teaches a martial art that not only promotes physical strength, but also mental clarity and respect.
Hello, I am Kyung-chul Ahn, a Taekwondo instructor. I am in my late 40s and have been teaching Taekwondo for about 35 years. I currently live in Bokdong, Seoul, where I've been running my Taekwondo studio for about 20 years. My passion for Taekwondo is great, and I believe it should be accessible to all. Taekwondo is composed of three important elements. Tai refers to the use of foot techniques. Kwon refers to hand techniques, particularly with the fists. And Do stands for the way or path of life. Altogether, Taekwondo is a martial art that focuses on using both hands and feet in unarmed techniques. One of the defining features of Taekwondo is its strong emphasis on foot techniques, which sets it apart from other martial arts. As an Olympic discipline, Taekwondo has inspired countless young people worldwide to train with dreams of winning medals at major events like the Olympic Games or Asian Games. Even in countries where medals have yet to be won, Taekwondo offers a powerful sense of hope and aspiration. I take great pride in teaching this martial art, and I feel a strong sense of responsibility to pass on its traditions, values, and techniques to the next generation. It's an honor to contribute to something so meaningful. When teaching Taekwondo, it is essential to teach manners, respect for others, and consideration for weaker people. Without these values, it would be like handing children a weapon. As instructors, we must be aware of this responsibility. This is especially true in the teenage years, when conflicts can arise. It is therefore important to explain to young people the seriousness of the techniques and to act preventively through constant mental education to avoid fights. Cooperation with parents plays a key role in ensuring effective teaching. We need to work together to teach these principles. I follow this approach in my teaching, and I'm sure many instructors around the world do the same. It is essential that anyone teaching a martial art always keeps this in mind.
그런 부분은 꼭 명심해서 무술 가르치는 사람들은 꼭 그렇게 가르쳐야 된다고 저는 생각하고 있습니다. 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱.
When summer arrives in Korea, the country is transformed into a living scene of growth and green colors. With the heat comes humidity, which is a defining feature of the Korean summer. Despite the immense heat, summer, in combination with the element of earth, provides many nutrients and is the foundation of life for the plant world. The process of tea cultivation is deeply connected to the rhythm of nature and reflects the harmonious relationship between humans and the earth. From choosing the right location to carefully nurturing the plants, each step requires a deep understanding of nature and its environment. This characteristic of perfect temperature, humidity, and soil is reflected in Boseong. Although the province has been planting tea for several hundred years, the commercial breakthrough of tea cultivation only came in the 20th century. Today, Boseong is known as the green tea capital and is the main axis with 40 to 50% of South Korea's tea production. tea fields take up almost a third of the arable land in the region. Although tea is also harvested by hand here in the traditional way, machine harvesting based on the Japanese model is gradually gaining ground. In Korea, green teas are produced using the Chinese method of roasting and the Japanese method of steaming. In Boseong, the Chinese method is mainly practiced. Rice, a staple food, has been part of Korean culture for a long time. It is now believed that rice was cultivated 2 millennia before Christ. As Korea consists largely of mountainous landscape, just 10% of the land area can be used for agriculture. Most of this is used to grow rice, which is why it is the main agricultural crop. The first harvest is harvested in summer, and the fields have to be replanted. In Korea, a double harvest is carried out for the most part. This is only possible thanks to the nutritious soil and careful cultivation of the fields. As with tea cultivation, rice cultivation has also been mechanized. In the past, all cultivation was done by hand. Today, machines speed up the process. The mountains of Seoraksan National Park cover an area of almost 400 square kilometers in the eastern province of Gangwon-do, and, thanks to its impressive nature, is one of South Korea's most popular national parks. Over 2,000 animal species and 1,400 different plant species live in this reserve. For this reason, UNESCO has recognized the area as a biosphere reserve. The mountainous areas, which make up a large part of Korea, are covered in dense emerald green vegetation in summer. In the south, May green tea fields cling to the cliffs, while in the valleys, the rice fields sway their lush green stalks in the gentle wind. During the summer months, when the sun shines most strongly on Korea, the various types of bamboo sprout. Bamboo, which is one of the fastest growing plants in the world, reaches its maximum height after about 7 years. The bamboo's inner wood body not only enables it to grow quickly, but also makes it particularly strong and flexible, which is why strong winds cannot harm it, a symbol of adaptability and resilience. When the leaves on the trees turn bright shades of red and gold, and a warm ray of sunshine makes them glow, autumn, the element of fire, arrives on the Korean peninsula. Autumn is a time of change in Korea, when nature unfolds its full splendor before preparing for winter. This season not only marks the end of summer, but also the beginning of numerous festivals that are deeply rooted in Korean culture, a reminder of traditions and the past. From fiery energy and the vivid expression of cultural identity, Thalchum, the traditional Korean mask dance, finds its place. Thalchum is a type of folk entertainment that is usually performed at festivals. A story is conveyed through dance, song, musical accompaniment, and language. The masks play a crucial role in the performance, as they can have different characteristics and materials depending on the region. The most common style of mask is the Ha-Hoetal mask, which is made from alder wood. In addition, the story is told by the different characters. Although the Thalchum differs in style and execution depending on the region, there are generally 2 main types of characters: the protagonist, who drives the story forward, and the reactive character who causes conflict with the main character. During the time of the Three Kingdoms, the mask dance was performed to make contact with the gods. It was believed that the masks could reflect the image of the gods, and that the masked person could convey the wishes and thoughts of the people to the gods. In later times, especially during social upheavals, the function of the talcum changed. The masked dance increasingly became a means of expressing the displeasure and anger of the common people towards the ruling elite and the nobility. The subtropical volcanic island of Jeju-do lies south of the Korean peninsula and is by far the largest island in Korea. Consisting of volcanic material originating from the 1,950-meter-high mountain Halasan, the island is symbolic of the element of fire. The dormant volcano, which towers above everything and casts its shadow over the island, is the center of the island. Together with the only waterfall in Asia that flows directly into the sea, the many lava tunnels scattered around the island create a unique scenic atmosphere. Here on this island, we meet the ceramics master, Jin Park.
My name is Kyung-jin Park. I make pottery in Jeju Island, where I run a small studio. My girlfriend and I are also baking bread together. She's from Germany, and we're making German bread. I first came to Jeju Island because I had thyroid cancer surgery in 2013. After the operation, I planned to stay on the island for just 2 months to recover. During that time, I unexpectedly discovered pottery, and it completely changed my life. What started as a way to pass the time soon became a form of healing for me. Pottery gave me peace and helped me focus during a difficult time. I've been doing it ever since, and I view it as a kind of soldier that saved me, helping me regain my strength and guiding me on a new path in life. I come to the studio at 6 a.m. The time can vary a bit each day. When there are guests, especially those participating in pottery experiences, I might not have time to work on my own projects. So, when there are no guests, I usually spend almost the entire day making bowls. A total of 7 steps are required to produce pottery. The first step is clay making, where the clay is prepared. However, there are only a few clay deposits on the volcanic island of Jeju, which is why we often skip this step and start directly with the second. The first practical step in the pottery process is called molding or xionghyang. Shaping is followed by cutting. The pottery is then dried. After drying, the first firing takes place, followed by glazing and the second firing, which is why the whole process takes about 6 months. The glazing process is where we apply the glaze. Both the first and second firing must be carefully monitored. The first firing reaches a temperature of up to 800 degrees Celsius, while the second, in my case, gets as hot as 1250 degrees Celsius. Pottery consists of 3 components: water, fire, and clay. None of these components can be considered unimportant. They are all essential. Each of these elements is also a part of nature. And when these natural elements come together, a piece of pottery is created. Squeeze it from the bottom to the top. I never thought I would ever make pottery. It was never something I had imagined. I see it as a stroke of luck that came to me unexpectedly. I'm still incredibly grateful for that, and it brings me so much joy and happiness.
When the rain cools down the last warm days and the temperature slowly begins to drop, winter is just around the corner. Like a string of knowledge, the water winds its way through the cool landscape, following its steady course, carrying with it stories and wisdom from times gone by. Buddhism, one of the oldest spiritual traditions in the world, offers a deep insight into the nature of wisdom. At the heart of the Buddha's teachings, wisdom is the central element that points the way to inner liberation and a true understanding of reality. Korea first came into contact with the Buddha's teachings in 372. 2 years later, an influential monk from China came to Korea and persuaded the Korean ruler to adopt Buddhism. Today, the connection between Koreans and Buddhism is still prevalent, but has declined noticeably. For some years now, Christian followers have been the largest religious community in the country. Nevertheless, one can still see the great influence of Buddhism and its rich heritage in Korea, which has been left behind in the form of numerous temples, Buddha statues, and other works of art. While the country is wrapped in a white cloak of snow, Koreans have had to find ways to withstand the harsh weather conditions of winter. Between 2,600 and 3,000 years ago, Koreans already knew how to preserve vegetables over the winter months. This tradition of preserving vegetables, especially by pickling them, led to the creation of kimchi. In Seoul, we meet a cook who not only practices this culture, but also passes it on.
Hello, I'm Sang-mi Lee, the director of the Seoul Kimchi Academy in Seoul. Nice to meet you. We opened the Kimchi Academy in the popular tourist areas of Bukchon Hanak Village and Myeongdong. As these places attract many visitors, many foreigners show great interest in kimchi, one of Korea's most famous foods. They often ask how to make real Korean kimchi. As I have always enjoyed cooking and am passionate about food, I founded the Kimchi Academy about 20 years ago. Since then, I have been teaching people from all over the world and young Koreans how to make kimchi. My goal is to make our delicious kimchi an indispensable side dish in Korean cuisine, known worldwide. That's why I founded the Academy and have been running it for more than 20 years now.
김치 아카데미를 오픈하게 됐고 지금까지 20여 년 동안 운영하고 있습니다. 1년 중 김치가 가장
The ideal time to make kimchi is from November to early December, when the Napa cabbage grows best and produces the tastiest kimchi. During this period, many households prepare large quantities of kimchi that are consumed throughout the winter. The kimchi produced during the kimjang season is considered particularly delicious and is a major event for Koreans. It is almost like a festival, as large quantities of kimchi are prepared during this time and kept for long-term storage.
축제와도 같은 김장 시즌입니다. 김치의 역사는 아주 오래되었는데
The history of kimchi is very long. It is said that the practice of salting vegetables dates back to ancient times, possibly even before the Common Era. However, the form of kimchi we know today was developed during the Joseon dynasty when chili peppers were introduced to Korea. Over time, this evolved into the 200 to 300 or so varieties of kimchi that have survived to this day.
Tradition and modernity. A fine line of balance in the constant interaction between yin and yang. In no other city in Korea do these two opposites meet as often as in the metropolis of Seoul. The city is the center of the Sudogwon metropolitan region, which is home to around a third of the entire Korean population. This makes Sudogwon the 6th largest metropolitan area and the 4th largest economic area. Tradition and modernity come together in many different ways in Korea. A particularly vivid example of this are the university campuses in Seoul, which are used for a variety of purposes. In addition to the annual festivals at which K-pop stars perform, these locations also serve as backdrops for K-drama productions. In the 2010s, K-pop, along with the majority of Korean pop culture, gained international recognition through the so-called Korean Wave, also known as Hallyu. In addition to the Korean role models, international groups are now also trying to gain a foothold in the K-pop scene by showcasing their talents and choreography on the streets. Between high-rise buildings and shopping streets, the city's temples have a life of their own. Despite the hustle and bustle of the streets, the temples bring a certain calm and serenity to a city that is otherwise always buzzing. The subway, which is full at rush hour, takes you to the vibrant electro and party district of Hongdae. In addition to the nightlife, this district offers another attraction, the so-called PC Bangs. This is the name given to public spaces in Korea that offer gaming at low prices around the clock. One of these rooms belongs to the esports giant T1, one of the best-known teams in international esports. Here, visitors can not only play popular video games, but also watch the professional league live on match days via public viewings and experience the atmosphere up close. In Korea, the Korean Esport Association, KESPA, the world's first national esport association, was founded in 2000. Since then, Korea has developed into the mecca of professional gaming. Despite this densely populated area, Seoul is surrounded by national parks and mountains that offer residents and visitors to the city a retreat into nature. They offer a welcome break from the hustle and bustle of the city, providing a perfect balance between urbanity and nature. Unity, integrity, and love of peace, summed up in the color white. Traditionally, Koreans used to wear predominantly white clothing and were therefore also referred to as the people of white clothes. The white color was considered pure, but it also had social significance. It was stipulated by law that the general population could only wear white clothing, while colorful garments were reserved exclusively for the nobility. Today, however, the hanbok has changed. The once predominant white clothing now shines in a variety of colors and designs. Today, hanboks are a living symbol of the connection between past and present. Hanboks are rarely worn in everyday life and then preferably by older women in rural areas. Nevertheless, the hanbok still plays an important role in Korean culture. The traditional costume is still worn for festivals and holidays, official occasions, or as a tourist attraction around the palaces in Seoul. A country whose history and culture are deeply rooted rises today as a bridge between tradition and modernity. A story captured in the Korean flag, a mirror of harmony and change through the elements and the seasons. This balance between opposites characterizes life in Korea. The recurring white color, a symbol of unity and peace, and at the same time a reminder of the division of the country. At the end of this journey through the seasons and the history of Korea, we realize that the striving for harmony embodied in the Korean flag is not just a national symbol, but a principle of life that is deeply rooted in the Korean soul. Korea, a country that, despite the tensions and challenges it has experienced, always finds its balance and goes its own way.